My old good friend Bert Watson, he used to say, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. They're only going to make you cry. And so that was definitely playing in my head rent-free, especially because in the locker room I kept hearing that they were giving these decisions away and that the judges were a little crazy tonight. So I was definitely concerned about that. And then when I heard split, I was like, oh, golly. I didn't know. But I thought in my head I had done enough.
And then you have this unique position where you have possible two big fights in front of you. Obviously, you called for the Amanda Nunes fight, which you said could be the biggest fight in just MMA history, I think, is what you said. But then they showed Kayla Harrison. She was watching back here. They showed a split screen with you and her. She stood up making the belt motion. Obviously, you want the Amanda fight, but you are in this unique position where either route you take, you get a lot of eyeballs on you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when I saw Amanda retire that day in Canada, I was sitting cage side and I was booing. And it was because I didn't believe that she was truly done. And then you hear Dana White saying, I think she retired too early. And then you watch her, and I feel like she's just twiddling her thumbs, wondering, what is my identity? What am I doing? I'm bored. Like, who am I if I'm not, fighting in the UFC? So there's an air that I feel that she misses the sport, that she's looking to, find something that's going to, make her want to come back. Kayla never mentioned her name when she beat Holly Holm, and she sure is not mentioning her name now. None of the other girls were mentioning Amanda's name that they considered the greatest of all time, yet I was, and I never shied away from that, and I still am, because I truly do not believe that she's done. I think she retired too early. I think that she's looking for something to do, and, that to me is the biggest fight in women's mixed martial arts history, because we're 1-1. My fight against her the first time was so dominant I made her tap. Our second fight, I ran out of time. I lost a decision handedly, fine, no problem. But it would be nice to put it to bed once and for all and get that trilogy fight that I feel that she ran away from.
And I do have to ask, did you watch Kayla's fight? And if you did, what did you make of her performance?
I was, to be honest, I'll tell you, I was warming up and focusing on my own fight. But with that being said, I had my coaches there watching the fight and kind of giving me the 411 on what was going down. We're not impressed. She said she was going to put an elbow through her skull and she was going to, do all this damage. Like, the girl didn't have a scratch on her. It was boring. And she didn't do anything that, jumped off the pages like, ooh, the boogeyman. You know what I mean? So I was definitely, especially with, hearing from my team, not impressed.
Do you think that has something to do with Kayla, or Ketlen was just tougher than maybe Kayla gave credit to?
I definitely think that at some point or another, like Ronda, when you figure out the one-trick pony of being able to stuff a takedown, you realize that the fight is more competitive and more even than, people want to give it credit for. So I think that, once you stuff the takedown, you realize that you're actually in a tougher fight than you thought you were. And I think that that's kind of what played into her head tonight.
And if your wish doesn't get granted of Amanda coming back to fight you, how big do you really think that Kayla Harrison fight could be? Because if we're honest, she does have a lot of hype around herself. You just got the belt back. So how big could that fight be in your opinion?
Yes, if Amanda cowers away again and does not come back and fight me, then yes, you're absolutely right. Kayla brings a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention to the sport, and I love that.